The Xbox leadership is about to get a big shakeup. Some of the top folks are stepping away, leaving a path for new leadership and a whole bunch of booty.
And not to be outdone, Sony's out here closing fan-favorite studios and laying off developers. We got all this news and a whole bunch more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest news from the from what video games? From the video game industry. I forgot what industry we discussed. We have 6 other podcasts where we discuss different industries. There's the produce. We have our produce weekly where we talk about produce. But this one's the video game one, and we're going to talk about games. My name is E-Rock the Red, as always, joined by this guy right here. Full clip, the captain of the produce division over here. What's going on? How are you?
I'm very thankful you agreed to do that podcast with me. The price of bananas in China are going crazy, but we'll save that for later. Yeah, doing all right. How about you?
It's too much. Yeah, tuned in. I'm good. I say it every week. I'm tired. I'm too old for this shit. I've just been staying up, drinking, and playing video games, and I'm not a child anymore. I can't go like this, like the kids do these days. So yeah, I just want to go take a nap.
It's the weekend. You can do whatever you want on the weekends. It's that, whatever time you got to be at work, 7, 8, 9. That's when it gets rough.
Yeah. Well, I was up till like I think 2 the last couple nights, and I got up early this morning to watch the U.S.-Canada hockey game. So yeah. So
heard that went well for us.
Yeah, USA. We'll cut this part out for the podcast that goes outside of the country.
Oh yeah.
Or we'll just dub in like us chanting different countries.
Let's play the Soviet anthem.
Exactly. We're big over there. We're real big over there. You been playing any games? Doing anything fun?
Yes. So I got into one of our 2 weeks back, maybe it is at this point, one of our new releases that we talked about, Carmageddon Rogue Shift. Now, getting into review territory here. So I've not played the previous Carmageddon games, and I know there's a big stink on this one because people want more of those original ones, which to me, the little bit of footage I've seen looks a little bit more like a Twisted Metal style, like arena-based car combat game, whereas this one is, you're just kind of plopped into the race full bore. You're racing a certain amount of other races depending on how far you go down this, like, individual, I don't know what you call it. They refer to it as a game, but I would call it like a round, I guess, of a roguelike. So it is a roguelike game. You earn some currency in this particular game you're going through. You earn some currency that you use after to get permanent improvements and unlock new things that you'll be able to use the next run in the store. And you get just a few other things like that. Your purpose is to build synergies between the weapons that you're using, the cars you're using, and the power-ups that you're getting. You can upgrade these as you go along, the further and further you make it. Each round consists of like 3 phases. There's a boss at the end of each phase. Each phase gets longer, more complicated. You have sort of a roadmap that you can see ahead of time and strategically plan your way around which events. Most of the time, you're just doing like a race. So it starts as like 1 versus 6 people. Toward the higher tiers of this difficulty, you get like versus 12 people. So they get harder and harder. The maps get harder. Like darkness is a factor that makes it a little bit harder to see what's going on. Your environment is attacking you more toward the end. And all of that is trying to get through those 3 phases of bosses. And once you've done that, I think you've won the game. I'm looking at the trophies for the game, and the overall goal is probably to win the game with each car available out of these like 8 or 10 cars. I've not done it with any, but I've gotten close.
Gotcha. The big thing though, how does the racing feel?
Okay, so it's a lot of fun. For the most part, the racing, the combat, the bashing into people feels very rewarding. I like it a lot. Most of the weapons are good, and if you don't like the weapon on a car, you can always upgrade it as soon as you hit that part of the path. Progression feels good. I will say there feels like there's a lot of rubber banding to give you a chance, but I don't know how the developers would otherwise make this like a proper roguelike where it should be very easy in the beginning and get harder as you go. So I think the rubber banding isn't as pronounced toward the end. And when I say rubber banding, I'm talking about the enemy cars do not get that far ahead of you in these early ones. You can kind of mess up and you're going to be able to catch up and probably come in first place still, as long as you're not too close to the finish of the map. So I will say that the handling on most of these cars, they have different stats. Some are more annoying to use than others for sure, and some work pretty well. But the handling in this game has just some strange things to it. I can't really describe it, but sometimes you're trying to take a corner and it doesn't seem like it should be an issue, and you feel like you're going to get into a little bit of a groove, and then the next thing you know, you're spinning out.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like way too easy to do that for a game where you really have to be precise about getting the power-ups, which are usually just a little out of the way. It's a challenge, for sure. But to the point where it takes away from the game. I find it easier if I get like spun out most of the time and I'm at a dead stop and I'm facing the wall or I'm backward on the course. I find it easier just to hold the down D-pad to respawn, and hopefully that puts you right back in the middle of the course with a little bit of speed. And I don't think it should be that way. I think I should easily be able to back up, go forward, and be back on the track by my own volition, not having to rely on respawning to do it. But it's so awful at those low speeds to try to just do a simple little 90-degree turn. I don't think it's supposed to be that way, so the game could probably use a little bit of help right there. And other than that, I mean, that's really my only complaint.
All right. So you're enjoying it. Overall, you give it 2 thumbs up, 1 thumb up, 10 thumbs up. This is our narrative rating system. You have 63 thumbs. How many of them are up?
Out of 63 thumbs, shoot. I'm going to go with 54 out of 63 thumbs. If we're going to boil that down to like 2 thumbs, I'm going to give it a 1.5 thumbs up. Just waiting for that little bit to be fixed. And also, I looked up the price. I was using a review copy, so it's kind of hard to judge by the price factor. But it's looking like a $40 game on Steam and the platforms. I don't see a $40 game. When you get into the menus and you're seeing like what looks almost like AI art just sliced and made to be minimally animated. There's no like voiceover dialogue or anything like that. The production value feels a little bit cheap on that end. When you're in the races, that has nothing to do with it. That's fine. When you're in the menus, they look pretty good. But these cutscenes leave a little bit to be desired. The actual menu itself, you pretty much see what the entire game has to offer you right now, which I don't remember how many tiers it is exactly, but it's like maybe 10 or 12 tiers worth of rewards that you get this currency as you play, and you have to come back, and as you spend, new tiers will unlock, and that lets you get more of the vehicles, more of the power-ups that you'll be able to get in the game, more permanent upgrades to like, say, 10% better max health forever. So that's what you need. But it looks like you're going to hit a wall. I'm thinking that this is probably going to be like 10 to 15 hours before you have everything in there unlocked, and you're going to start making full wins on these matches. And if it's 15 hours worth of content with plenty of replayability before you get a victory with every one of these, I don't know if it's worth that $40 price point.
Yeah.
When I was playing it, I was thinking, man, if this is $20 to $30, that's the golden price point for this game. So maybe in the future, if they add more content, more tiers that you can unlock, or side tiers or something going on there. I think that'd be nice. And they have a sale running for $30. I think it's a definitely pick the game up.
Yeah, it's on my wish list. I will absolutely love to grab it when it goes on sale. You're playing on the PlayStation, right?
Yeah,
PS5.
PS5.
Yeah, that's where I would want to do it on the big giant screen. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it. It looks like a lot of fun. And again, like, we're constantly asking for more of these, vehicular combat games. So does it scratches that itch pretty good though?
Yeah, it does. I was kind of hoping
Okay.
for more of like a Twisted Metal feel from it, but for what it
Mhm.
is, I'm pretty happy. And I'm getting primed with these roguelikes left and right, so I have a little bit better idea what to expect from the gameplay loop, and I think that's done really well in synergy with the racing. So I'm a fan of this.
Cool. Awesome. I've been just playing a ton of Overwatch, dude. Like fully obsessed with Overwatch. I did end up downloading it also on my Xbox. So I'm playing it. When my son's on the PlayStation, I'll go upstairs, I'll play it on the Xbox. So it's utilizing my time very properly. But I did get a chance. So Next Fest starts, as of this recording, it starts tomorrow. So what that is, for people that don't know, it's on Steam. Just a ton of developers put out demos for their games, and they've been slowly trickling out already in preparation for that. So I did get a chance. I downloaded a few demos. I played a couple of them. The one I want to talk about, though, the Eternal Life of Goldman, is a game that I've been looking forward to for a long time. It's a Metroidvania, all hand-drawn, like animated style. It looks gorgeous. And it plays really, really well. It's about a 90-minute demo. Absolutely sold me on the game. The art style is great. The comedy in it's great. The upgrades, everything like that. Like, you play as this old dude and you upgrade your cane, and the cane does like different things, and you can change it to whatever you need at the moment. That's the Metroidvania part of it. You go back and forth when you unlock new pieces of your cane. So yeah, dude, that is a fantastic game if you're a fan of Metroidvanias or just beautiful looking hand-drawn games. Check out the demo to the Eternal Life of Goldman. And then I just started, right before this, I just started playing another demo of a game called Lootbound, which is kind of like a turn-based role-playing game, but it has like a roguelike deck building kind of feel, in that every time you beat a enemy, you get a treasure, and it is like either a weapon or armor. But then it's a grid-based system where you have to like fit that into your backpack, and like each one of those might give you different perks or something based on what you picked up, and then they could sometimes it'll affect other things in your backpack if you have them next to one another. So it's got like that. I only played it for about an hour. So yeah, I'm excited. I love Next Fest. I love trying all the demos, games that have been on my radar. So next week, I'm sure I'll have a bunch more demos that I'll be talking about.
Nice.
All right. That said, you ready to get this going?
Let's do it.
All right. It's time for our new releases from last week. All right, last week we had way too many games to talk about. This week there was like nothing that came out, like nothing big. So we're going to focus on a few of smaller titles that look interesting. First one being Super Battle Golf, came out on February 19th on PC. This one was not on my radar at all until I went on the Steam page and I was like looking at the top games this week. And it's one of those kind of, a friend slop style game. It's up to 8 players playing golf at the same time, and it's like a free-for-all to try to finish the hole first. So you're going through, there's power-ups, there's like, you could hit people with the ball, you could hit people with your golf club, you could run them over with a golf cart, there's an orbital laser that you could fire down, and it's all, you're trying to get to be the first one to win the hole. There's 27 different courses, there's a ton of like customizable like outfits and stuff like that you could get. it drew me in because it's at a 97% on Steam, over 1,000 reviews, overwhelmingly positive, and it's $6.39 right now. It looks like a ton of fun. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this looks like a game that I want to try out and play with some friends. So it looks very interesting, and I had not heard of it prior to like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get some
And
time with it, because I like golf games and I like just fucking around, doing stupid shit like that. So it's perfect. You know what I mean?
yeah. Did you ever play Outlaw Golf?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that one was not quite to this level. Nothing like power ups and really messing each other up. But it was kind of silly back in the day. I could get into this.
Oh,
These
really?
these friend swap games are having a moment here. Seems like, I mean, with RV
Yeah.
there yet, and just a ton of these coming out. There's another one that I've
Yeah.
been seeing all these clips on TikTok for, with like these gnomes going into a house, and I think you're supposed to like avoid the scary man, but then I've seen people like shoot the guy with a gun, and I don't know what the name of that is, but it's people are loving these right now.
Yeah. There's another one I had to try called, like, I think it's called the Yap Yap or whatever, and it's like you use your voice to like to say like magical like spells or something like that, and like it affects the game somehow.
Huh.
That one looks interesting.
So I've seen one like that, and I've seen another one
Yeah.
that like
So I don't know.
mimics. It'll like mimic your voice or mimic the voice of other players while it's creating mimics of them. So you don't know if it's them or if that is recreating your friend's voice.
Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's so many of them out there, and they're all like, they get their spot in the in the spotlight for a week or two, and then there's always a new one that's taking the place,
Yeah.
which is fine because they're only like $5-6 usually each time. So that's cool. All right, next up, Paranormasight, The Mermaid's Curse came out also on the 19th on PC, Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android. This is a supernatural horror visual novel style game. It is the second in a series, but it is a standalone game. You basically are just trying to solve like the mystery, and there's different perspectives that you could have. So to help you, gather clues and figure things out, and then you can manipulate the timeline in order to, to find out more information. This one, it looks interesting. If you're into that style of game, it is just a visual novel. It's not a lot of action. There is like a diving mini game that's included in this one, so that's cool. But pretty much you're just there solving this horror mystery about a mermaid. It's got an 85 on OpenCritic, so it is getting well reviewed. Is this something you'd ever try to check out? Or is this absolutely, you're just turned off by the whole thing?
I was turned off by the trailer, but then they showed some of the actual gameplay toward the very end of it, and it was not what I expected. I'm not usually into like the mystery look around with a magnifying glass games, but for the right price or free, I can try it out.
Sure, absolutely. And then last up, Demon Tides came out on PC on February 19th. This is a 3D platformer. It is a sequel to Demon Turf, which is their previous game. It's the same studio that did Bubsy 4D. So, they are a popular platforming studio. They make good platformer games, and everything I'm hearing is people are loving this game, saying it's one of the best platformers they've played in a long, long time. It's an open world, and one of the things is like you can get to places in multiple different ways. So they say like use your own style in order to get there. So like the way that the platforming works is like turn into a bird and then you jump and all this crazy stuff. And it's not like a precision platformer where it's like fine movements. There are different ways to do it, but like what makes it kind of it can be played multiple ways because you have different like speed trials where like then you could compete against your friends, play to get the fastest speed through the board, but ultimately it's a collectathon. There's a lot of things for you to find and get out there, and it just looks like a fun game. A lot of comparisons to like Super Mario Sunshine, Wind Waker, So yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And as soon as I saw this is another one that went on my wish list. It's at 84 on Metacritic, and again, people are calling it platformer of the year already. So I don't know others that are coming out, but yeah, it looks interesting. I always like a good 3D platformer, something simple that I could kind of just run around and just have fun with. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm so dated on the platformer, so I was looking at some of the gameplay of this and thinking like, that's a lot like Spyro the Dragon and DK64.
Yeah, it does have it definitely has that style, a little bit older looking 3D visuals, but yeah, it looks fun.
This one, it doesn't look bad at all to me. It's got a lot of visual style, but I was thinking when I saw this that those characters look like oddly familiar for some reason, and I don't know if it's like they're based somewhat off Splatoon or other Nintendo games, but I just feel like I've seen elements in the faces of these things that have carried
Mm-hmm.
over from all kinds of different games. I don't know if that's intentional or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the same thing, and I just didn't know if it was just like generic. So it was like that, kind of had a generic kind of vibe. But yeah, yeah, definitely. It looks interesting. I'll check it out. All right, that is it for our new releases. It is time for our news of the week. All right, first off, let's start with a tough one. Sony has closed Bluepoint Games. You know them from the Shadow of Colossus remake or Demon Souls for the PlayStation 5. Fantastic studio. Never made a bad game, but unfortunately, they had some issues in recent years, and they were shut down. Looks like about 70 people were laid off, and yeah, it was a real bummer, man. Because I was a huge fan of Bluepoint Games, just because of their work. They never put out anything bad. Now they never did make their own um, game. They always just kind of did remasters. And this is kind of where it went wrong for them. They were supposed to be making a God of War live service game, but Sony pulled the plug on that, and then they were just kind of floating out there without they made some pitches to Sony about some games that they wanted to do, didn't have anything, and then ultimately were finally shuttered and didn't even get a chance to put anything out. I want to read a quote from Sony. They said, following a recent business review, the decision was made to close Bluepoint Games in March. Bluepoint Games is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community. We thank them for their passion, creativity, and craftsmanship. What are your thoughts on this one?
Just seems silly to acquire something, to spend so much money and then just drop it, especially when it's like your fault. If they didn't mess up and put out a bad game, you just decided that the game they were working on wasn't right. The game you assigned them to make, probably. So I don't know what the hell Sony is thinking, and maybe this is the problem with a lot of like turnover in the industry, and one person strategy doesn't necessarily make sense 5 or 10 years down the road, but you're still, these studios are still working off of those things, off those old plans.
Yeah. This one, it made no sense to me, and it was really frustrating. Out of all, we've seen studios get closed before for making a bad product or something that didn't sell. They didn't even get a chance to, they were, like you said, doing what they were told to do. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And then they got shut down. And this is ultimately, it's Sony's like their big blunder. This, in 2022, they bought up all these studios, and we're going to make all these live service games. And they've since closed 3 of those studios. No games have come out. They've canceled most of the live service games that they were making. And then, yeah, it's unfortunate to the people that are affected by this poor decision making. And it's, it's going to be interesting to see. So we got Bungie, the last one, working on Marathon, which comes out, soon. And if that doesn't go well, if Marathon does not go over, I'm worried about Bungie, about what that means for them. So, yeah, man, it's really unfortunate. And it's like, I've always been a Sony fanboy. And it's just a bad look and really, really bad moves. So, um, I don't know. I don't know what they're planning, what they need to do next, but yeah, sucks. Hopefully, the people at Bluepoint can find some work somewhere else and bounce back. But yeah, man, I'd be nervous if I were Bungie. All right. Anything else to add on that one?
Well, I mean, is in speculation, is this Sony seeing the writing on the wall of what's happening with all these live service games, and particularly with, I don't know the style that this God of War live service game was supposed to be, but particularly with games that are just crashing and burning like Concord, now High Guard, studios being shuttered after the wake of these games, because everybody was trying to get on the same exact thing. They all want to make the same game with their skin and hope that it makes just $1 trillion, and it's not happening.
Yeah.
We're seeing the opposite happen, which before, I mean, the way it used to work is you could release the game and you're going to have at least a small audience of people who would continue to play it. But now I guess it's just too expensive to run the servers, so it's like all or nothing, which is just, it's crazy that that's what it's come to with these style of games.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
Yeah, it really is. And it's, yeah, there's no middle ground. So yeah, I just saw something. I don't want to I just read the headline. So I don't know, I shouldn't even bring it up, but it was like something like the top games in 2025, the top lives were the same ones from 2024. No one's, everybody's playing what they know, what they love. This is why I'm back to Overwatch and I'm playing it constantly, because like I'm invested now back into that ecosystem. I'm doing the battle pass there. I only have a finite amount of time, and if I want to do my daily challenges, I'm going to do them there. I'm not going to get into a new game and try to do the same thing. So yeah, you do. Yeah. There isn't much room for lots of games. So
well, I'd have to think of like what particular metrics are they going by with that? Because as far as the AAA space, I'm sure that's true. But this past year has been like the year of the indie game, where people just had a diverse set of games. And even now, still, Mugenics that we were talking about like last week, I was seeing it setting Steam records. And that's like a $20, $30 indie game. So to say like,
yeah,
I don't think that's true across the board. That like everybody's just playing Call of Duty or everybody's just playing Overwatch. I think people have a much more diverse palette in front of them, and they're playing these games that are cheap and good.
Agreed. I do agree with that. So yeah, we'll see what happens when Marathon comes out in a few weeks. But hopefully, Sony is figuring out what the hell they need to do over there and do do it. All right, and then over on the Microsoft side, Xbox has been doing some restructuring. First of all, CEO Phil Spencer, who has been with Microsoft since 1988, and with Xbox since the Xbox first came out in 2001. Man, that's crazy. But he is retiring. He is done over there at Microsoft, and everybody thought the Xbox president, Sarah Bond, was going to be moving into Phil Spencer's role, and she resigned without any information, any fanfare. So I don't know. There's something going on there. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But now the new CEO of Microsoft Gaming will be Asha Sharma. She's currently the president of Microsoft's Core AI product. And then Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty is going to be promoted to Chief Content Officer, working closely with her. So there's been a lot of people aren't too pleased with the pick for CEO, and I'll explain real quick why. She has never been part of the video game industry. So she was the VP at Meta. She was the COO of Instacart, and she's currently a board member of Home Depot, as in addition to her role with the Core AI. And then on top of that, coming from an AI background, people are a little bit worried. So, you got any thoughts on this shakeup?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say about like the retirement and the stepping down. Um, but I think the big story that people are talking about right now is this link to AI from her. I'm trying to load the page right now, but I mean, like I'm saying, my internet's god awful today. I want to get this quote from her. Do you have?
I have a big quote from her that I wanted
Okay.
to read. So I know exactly which one you're talking about. I'll do that first, and then we'll talk about it. Actually, there's a big. She put out a big uh series of quotes, and I'm just going to read the whole thing because it is important to whatever the Xbox's future is. So it says, my first job is simple. Understand what makes this work and protect it. That starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. Everything begins here. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable characters, stories that make us feel, innovative gameplay, and creative excellence. We will empower our studios, invest in iconic franchises, and back bold new ideas. We will take risks. We will enter new categories and markets where we can add real value, grounded in what players care about most. I promoted Matt Booty in honor of this commitment. He understands the craft and the challenges of building great games, has led teams that deliver award-winning work, and has earned the trust of game developers across the industry. Second, the return of Xbox. We will recommit to our core Xbox fans and players, those who have invested with us for the past 25 years, and to the developers who build the expansive universes and experiences that are embraced by players across the world. We will celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with console, which has shaped who we are. It connects us to the players and fans who invest in Xbox and to the developers who build ambitious experiences for it. Gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware. As we expand across PC, mobile, and cloud, Xbox should feel seamless, instant, and worthy of the communities we serve. We will break down barriers so developers can build once and reach players everywhere without compromise. Third, future of play. We are witnessing the reinvention of play. To meet the moment, we will invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what we already have. Iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love. But we will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are and always will be art, crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. So, lot of things there. Focus on games, making games. Focus on bringing back the Xbox, which they seem to have gotten away from. One thing that I thought was interesting in this whole speech, no mention of Game Pass. Whereas prior to this, everything was about Game Pass. This, no mention of Game Pass at all. So I don't know. It seems like they're backpedaling a little bit, trying to reinvent Xbox a little bit, maybe. And then, yeah, she had to focus on, no AI slop, which we'll see if she holds up to that end of the bargain, coming as a leader in AI. But yeah, all right. Now, hit me with your thoughts.
Okay. It was the bit on AI that I particularly wanted to get into because this is somebody coming from their head of AI and moving over to the games, which are increasingly being stuffed with AI. And I'm just going to put it out there. Sometimes I really don't care if it has some AI in it. I was playing Where Winds Meet. They use generative AI so you can be like messaging and talking to these NPCs that have a particular
Right.
set of emotions, a range of things that they're supposed to say. And if you tell them what they want to hear, basically, you socially engineer your way into getting rewards. I like that. That's interesting. I don't think it's killing anybody that exists in that game. And then we're talking on like Underground Garage. This is from a foreign developer. I don't remember which country they're from, but I don't think English is their first language. And their game is better because they use like text to speech. Now it's a little eerie hearing like the TikTok voices being characters in the game, but like the text to speech through that sounds really good. It took me a little while to catch on and figure out that that's what was going on. But I think there's a lot of improvements in games that can be made through like good use of AI, and where she says no AI slop. That just depends on who you're talking to, whether that matters or not, because some people will say that all AI is AI slop. There is no good AI usage, and they won't accept it.
Hmm.
I'm more in that other camp where if it's good, it's good, and if it's bad, it's bad. I know what AI slop is, and I don't consider all products of AI slop. I'm hoping that they hold true to that promise and they don't just fill it and kill a bunch of jobs by deciding, hey, we can make a cheaper, easier product by relying on AI, even if the end product is not as good. I don't know that I necessarily believe that they're not just
Hmm.
going to milk some of these IPs. That's the name of the game at that level. That's what Sony does. That's what Xbox is going to do.
Sure.
It's what everybody does. They milk their old IPs, and fans thank them
Everybody.
for it most of the time. Um,
Yeah.
Now, for the rest of it, as far as like we're going to
Yeah.
revitalize Xbox, we're going to revitalize the brand. I don't know. What do you know about it? Just stepping into the role, stepping into oh my god, ladybug attack. Uh, stepping into the gaming industry for the first time. What do you know about it? That's what I want to know. And I'm sure she's got a lot of people that she can kind
Yeah.
of depend on. Matt Booty's been there forever, and he's going to be sounds like working very closely.
Hmm.
So hopefully this leads to good things. I don't know. Xbox has been a mixed bag over the years. They've done a lot of good stuff, backwards compatibility. Um, they were they bring out Game Pass. I mean, I think we're both big fans of Game Pass, despite the incremental price increases that make it a little less good of a value. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of good stuff. There's also a lot of like weird shit. The everything is an Xbox. Your TV is an Xbox. Your toaster's an Xbox. Don't really even know what the
Yes.
end goal of that was. Um, I mean, just a lot of weird things in between. Your Xbox One needs to be your media center. Your cable box needs to plug into it for some reason. Just weird steps. Bundling Connect with it. We'd go on and on and on about the weird shit that Microsoft has done over the years. So, I mean, a shakeup in leadership is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and it's not going to be something that we see soon. This is going to have, it's going to take a while to see how that influence is changing because that Spencer touch is still there and will remain there for sure years. So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm interested to hear kind of what happened with Sarah Bond and why she's out now and what she's going to do next. But yeah, crazy stuff over there at Xbox. Hopefully they could, figure out what they need to do to move on and become, Xbox again, back to what they were. All right, next up, Pokemon fans are excited. They just announced that Fire Red and Leaf Green were coming back. You ever play those ones? It was for the Nintendo
Yeah.
DS, I think,
I think so because these are like
or Game
new
Boy Advance.
colorized versions.
I think it was a Game Boy Advance, right? I'm
I
pretty sure
I
it
wanted
was.
to say that, but I think that's a little too soon because like the original was on Game Boy, and then the Game Boy Color, and maybe because they weren't Game Boy Color games. Those red and blue and green were all OG Game Boy, black and white, no color to them.
Yeah, okay, it was. Yeah, Game Boy Advance in 2004.
Oh, it was Game Boy
So
Advance, not even like DS.
right,
So
they might have
it
also.
skipped one generation.
Yeah, yeah, they might have also been on the DS. I don't remember. I don't think so. I remember. So I was working when this came out. I remember it very vividly. That I was working at
Yeah.
Toys R Us at the time, and it was a we couldn't keep these things on the shelf. And I remember parents coming in and not knowing what to buy, and they're like, "Well, I got to get both of them. I got to get the green and the red because I don't know." And that was the first time I saw that Pokemon like you got to catch them all, and people were buying two copies of the same game because you start with like different
Gosh.
starter Pokemon and stuff. So did you play this one?
Yeah, through some form of emulation, while I had my
Gotcha.
safe physical copy tucked away in the drawer for safekeeping.
Right, of
Yeah,
course.
I discovered this through emulation. I remember the big draw for me, because I started with Pokemon Red. I found out that Fire Red existed, and that it was like a sort of a remaster, or to an extent, because there's a lot of
Hmm.
new stuff that's been added in there, but it's basically being based off of the old game to some extent with the original 151, and then maybe plus some. I was really into that.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So this comes out February 27th. There'll be $19.99 each, and they are available only through the Nintendo store, the Switch digital store. But they will be available on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. Um, and then what's interesting too is that, and I'm surprised they didn't save this announcement, because there is a Pokemon Presents presentation the same day that those come out. So it was weird that that was announced. Maybe it was going to be leaked or something, so they jumped the gun. But yeah, Pokemon Presents will be on February 27th. 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. So we'll be talking about whatever gets announced there next week. But it's, this is the big 30th anniversary of Pokemon, so people are expecting some big things. We're seeing commercials for Pokemon out on television during the Super
Super
Bowl,
Bowl.
and during big things. So it's pretty cool just seeing it. Not even selling a game or anything like that. It's just a commercial for Pokemon. So it's very cool. And my son is 100% fully obsessed with Pokemon now. So he is like everything in this house right now is Pokemon. We're
Oh
watching
yeah.
the show on Netflix. He's getting the cards. He's playing. He beat Z to A and all. So yeah, it's a lot. It's too much.
So you getting one or both of these on the Switch?
I don't know. So Pokemon Legends ZA was his first real experience in Pokemon gaming. And he tried to go back. My wife has another one of those where to the classic turn-based thing, and he's like, "This is boring." It's not, because Z to A has the real-time fighting, the action
Yeah,
combat, and he's like, "This is how it should be." So we'll see.
I got you. Yeah, I think at that $20 price point, that's like it's pretty perfect. They could have
Yeah,
probably done a normal Nintendo thing and got 40 or 50. So I'm glad they just went with
yeah, I
20.
think you're right. Yeah, I agree. 20 bucks is good. And then last up, stop killing games. This is a movement we talked about. Oh, it's been a while now, but they had to get the petition for them to be put into the legislature over in Europe to stop just killing games. It started with this guy being upset that he was playing Ubisoft The Crew, and they just removed it. And this guy started stop killing games and say like, "Why you can't just take games away from people that paid for them." There needs to be some sort of recourse. So he started a petition to have it looked at in legislature. It hasn't done much since then, but now the movement is growing in that now it is he's starting two official NGOs, which I didn't know what that was. I had to look it up. Non-governmental organization. It's generally speaking an organization that pursues particular goals, typically but not exclusively political, and that may be funded partially or fully by governments, but is not actually part of any government. They say like Doctors Without Borders or Amnesty International. So it's going to be like that. So hopefully get this idea of, game developers just being able to, you pay $60 for a game and then they could just stop it. They could just remove it and you have nothing to show for anymore. It's happening far too often lately. We're talking about it more and more every week. So this is cool. I don't know what their plan is, what they're, going to be doing going forward. Um, but yeah, it's very cool. What do you
Yeah.
give me your thoughts?
Yeah, the one thing that I have read so far, the plans are like lobbying, lobbying probably the U.S. Congress and the European Union Just having somebody in there to continually press the point for the organization. Said, stop killing games. Let's get some legislation passed. Get into the ears of the people who are making power or who have power and are making the laws in the U.S. and the EU. So hopefully something results out of that. I don't know really where the funding is coming from, because they said like the NGOs can be partially funded by the government, but I don't. What is there, like a grant system set up where if you just plead your case and maybe you get some money from the government? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that works either. I was wondering the same thing. This is all new to me. This is my first thing where I'm like, what the fuck's an NGO?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like where their head's at. I don't know what they're planning or what they're doing, but it's nice that there is somebody, speaking up for this issue. It's not a huge issue in the grand scheme of things. It's not a big thing, but it is an important thing. It is an important thing because, we see it more and more lately where it's just people can just remove something that, you believe to own, which you do not own anything. We're finding out.
Yeah.
Even like physical media to party. But yeah, even like physical media, you buy and you're like, I have this disc and I could play this disc. No, you can't. You can't always play the disc. They're going to remove it internally, and you're going to just have like a shiny coaster for whatever, or a cool frisbee.
Yeah, I feel bad for people who are like walking into the Goodwill.
And that's it.
They see a copy of The Crew on the shelf and like, I'll buy this for my grandson. He'll enjoy it. And yeah, fancy coaster.
Exactly. Yeah, or let me get this copy of Overwatch. OG Overwatch. That's a collector's item now. Or hey, look at I got this brand new game, Concord. Let me buy this for my grandkid.
That's probably seriously worth some money if you get one.
It's true. Yep. That or multiverses. He loves multiverses.
Oh, yeah.
That would actually still exist though if you downloaded it.
Yeah.
Prior.
Yeah, I saw like Multiverses. It was like a figurine or something like that branded for it the other day. And I thought, should I pick that up just because it's an oddity after the game is like officially shut down?
Yep. So yeah, that's it. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, we did it. We fought through your internet woes, and the man trying to keep us down. But no, we can't be stopped. Every week we're just fighting to get the news to use. All right. Well, thank you so much for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly. You could find us on YouTube at Pop Culture Playground is the name of the channel. It's where we've got all the the video versions of this show. If you want to see the trailers that are going along with everything we're talking about, they will be there. Or if you just want the audio, you could get us anywhere podcasts are found. Type in GNW in any one of those podcast aggregators, and this show will pop up. Make sure you hit subscribe. That way, every single week, you'll be ready to go listening to us on the go. And then we're on TikTok every once in a while. We'll put something out there, trying to make it big. I'm doing recipes, I'm doing dances. That's all I got. I'm gonna go take a nap, maybe play some eugenics. What are you gonna do?
Maybe a little Carmageddon road shift.
There you go. That sounds like fun. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week with more video game news.